Hi Luke, here's a quick guide to getting around your new school website. So first thing I'm going to do is open up a new tab and go to the website, which is at www.kingswoodjuniorschool.co.uk. You'll probably have that bookmarked pretty soon. And we'll see that takes us into the site as it would be viewed by any other viewer. Right at the bottom of the page, there's a sign in option, and that's just because I'm already logged into my email or any other Google service. I'm now back into the site in editor mode, and you can tell the difference because in the top right hand corner there are just these few simple icons. They hide lots of goodies that we're going to come onto in a moment, but that's how you can tell whether you are an authorized viewer. Who is an authorized editor of the site? Well, if we look in the share options here, we'll see that the site is set to be public on the web. In other words, anyone on the internet can find this and view it, but the only two people at the moment who can make any changes to the site are you and me. That may well change in due course as you decide to allow other people in. Let's get back to the site. And I want to step through the various regions of it so you know what we're looking at, and then we'll look at each one of those in turn and how to modify it. So I've already mentioned in the top right hand corner all of the editing controls are hidden behind those three buttons and the share button as well. And then in the main part of the site here we've got what I call a banner. Google sometimes calls that a logo, so if you see that, don't get confused. It means that thing at the top of the page. We've then got a horizontal navigation area with some tabs on it, boxes or tabs or links. And then the way we have the site laid out, we've got four main sections: a short welcome message, under that a latest news, sort of micro blog, I suppose you could think of it as, a photo slideshow which shows the latest photos, and then the school diary showing the public events that you're quite happy the world at large seeing. Okay, now in order to make any changes to any of these sections, we're going to have to get into editing mode. And just to confuse us, there's not just one edit mode, but a number of different ways of getting in. The simplest is this pencil here, the left hand of the top navigational buttons, and that's going to take us into edit mode, and you'll see that some of the objects on the page are now replaced by blank grey rectangles. Those are kind of gadgets that have been dropped in there, and when you're in edit mode you see a sort of placeholder. You can see here though that the welcome message, the latest news, photo slideshow and school diary headers, they're all visible, as is this chunk of text here starting with "here is a box where you can place a short welcome message." And those things that you can see when you're in edit mode like this are directly editable. So if you wanted, for instance, to get in there and change the welcome to our school to welcome from the head teacher, then you could do that straight as I've just directly typing in that box when you're in edit mode. I'm just going to put that back as it was. And the same goes for the writing underneath here. If you want to change, and you will want to change here, what's here, because it's meaningless stuff, then you can just edit as you would do in a normal text document. Whenever you've finished making edit changes, you need to get out of edit mode, which you do by clicking on the save button. And you'll see that those changes are now, they're going to take place immediately. The latest news, photo slideshow and school diary we saw just now were all gadgets, and that means that the content that goes into the gadget is actually being generated elsewhere. So you don't edit them directly on the page here, you go somewhere else and make changes, and those changes then ripple through straight away to the front page of the website. We'll come back to that in a moment, but I just want to start at the top now and move down the page to tell you how you would make changes to any of these various sections. The first, in fact, I'm going to say straight away, don't think about making changes yourself, just because this is actually an image. It's a single image. I've put a drop shadow on it, and I've done a few other things which I can do very, very quickly and which would take you some time to get to grips with. So if you want changes to the address or the phone number or the email which is shown on here, or in fact to the image as a whole, just let me know, and I can do those for you, probably faster than you learning how to do it yourself. I mean, I'll show you when we're face to face sometime, but for now it's probably easier just to ask me. The email address, by the way, is using the new domain that the school has, and we'll need to talk about whether you're ready to move across to that as a sort of public address for the school. I hope you will do, but you may not be ready for that just yet. So banner, don't bother with it for now, just come back to me if you need any changes made. Next thing we've got to look at, moving down the page, is this navigational bar here. And this is actually pre-populated with at least some headings, which are the main things that Ofsted expect to see on a school website these days. I've looked at the Ofsted requirements and made sure that that there is an entry for each of them here. In order to make changes to this, though, we need to get into not the normal edit mode, but a new type of edit mode, which is the site layout edit. That's a fairly recent thing, just 6 months ago that it was introduced, and you get to it from going to the More button. There's a lot hiding behind this More button, so what we need to look for is Edit Site Layout, and we can see that about 2/3 of the way down. Edit Site Layout. Click on that, and you don't immediately see much difference. There's a new toolbar which has just appeared here when we clicked on Edit Site Layout. And what you'll also see is that as you hover over different parts of the site, some of them get highlighted with a pale blue background color. And a little pop-up has appeared now saying Edit Horizontal Navigation. That's because I'm hovering over that region of the page, and it has a specialized editing procedure. So if I click on that, you'll see that we've actually got now Configure Navigation has come up, and it's going to allow me to make changes to this navigation bar. Now, before we do that, we may want to have a new page to add in there. So I'm going to just park this and come back to it in a moment. Let's go and create a new page. Now, one of the things you will forget to do several times, and it's frustrating, you just have to get used to it, is that when you're in one of these edit modes, whether it's the site layout or the normal edit, you need to get out of it before you can do anything else. So click on Close, and that brings back the normal buttons in the top right. And now I want to create a new page, and you can guess that it's this page icon with the plus sign on it. So click on New Page, and I'm going to make a new page, and I'll just call this Luke's Test Page, and just create it. I'm not going to bother with any of the other options, they don't matter too much. So I'm creating a new page. Here it comes with normal sort of page layout that you'd expect. So I might, for instance, choose to put some margins on there. That tends to make the page look a bit more elegant, and just say here is a test page, and I'm going to make that big and center justified, and maybe change the color. So you can do all the things that you'd normally expect. Maybe you want to put in some document or calendar or video or anything. That's all fairly straightforward from the insert menu, but we'll leave this for now, and I'm just going to save that page. It's a pretty stupid page, but it's only to show how the horizontal navigation works. So now I've got a new page. Let's go back to the home page so we can see what it looks like as a more familiar interface. Go back to More, Edit Site Layout, up to the horizontal tab area, and click on that. I'm going to put myself right at the end here and choose Add Page. And now I've got a list of all the pages that we've got here. Some of them are hidden underneath that Home button. And then there's Luke's Test Page. So I'm highlighting that, choosing OK, and we'll see that Luke's Test Page now appears at the bottom of this list. And it's at the same, if you can see here, it's indented at the same level as Contact Us and Other Info. And what that means is it's going to create a new tab, as you can see here, to the right of the existing tabs. Now I could move it. Let's go back into edit the horizontal navigation. I'll choose Luke's test page, and I'll now use the up arrow to move that above Other Info and say OK. And you'll see when this page saves that it's now moved to the left of Other Info. So in other words, you can choose whereabouts it's going to appear. And that also extends to choosing whether it's a principal tab or a submenu hanging underneath a tab. So I want to come down here to Luke's test page, and what I'm going to do here is use the right arrow to indent that one to the right. And you'll see what happens when I save that now and say OK. Luke's test page, when it saves, has now gone underneath one of these other areas. If I go on to, my mistake, I need to get out of edit mode before we can see what we've just done. And now when we come down to these other tabs, Luke's test page will appear underneath that. Now it looks for the time being as if I've got white text on a white background, which isn't very clever. So I'm just very briefly going to modify that. More, manage site, themes, colors and fonts, horizontal navigation, selected text, drop down. Here we are. Text color needs to be, let's make it that blue, and save, get back out. And I'm fairly optimistic that our drop downs now will have, there we are, Luke's test page as a submenu underneath that other area. Now let's just get rid of Luke's test page before we forget. So one more time, edit site layout, click on the horizontal navigation, come down to the page you're interested in. In this case, I'm going to click on the X that gets rid of it. Okay, so that's how you make new tabs and how you then add submenus and position the tabs in the place you want. You can also do that for pages or for destinations which are not pages that you've made on this site, but which might be something else that's useful. So let's say, for instance, that we wanted to add a link to the BBC site in here. Same process, go to where you'd like that to be. I'm going to put it right at the end. And this time, instead of saying add page, I'm going to click on add URL. And this time, I'm going to say BBC site is the text I want to appear on the tab. And the URL I want that to go to, www.bbc.co.uk. OK, OK, and now there we are. So I'll close the edit site layout, and I've now got a new tab saying BBC, and when I click on it, it goes to the URL that we've put in there. Okay, so that's the horizontal navigation. It's forgotten that BBC site, so I'm now going to remove that last one that we just put in there, edit site layout, onto here, down to the bottom, choose the one I want, delete it. Okay, pretty straightforward really, and quite good fun because you get immediate feedback. So now you've seen how to do the banner, which is by asking me, how to modify the horizontal navigation, create pages and then add them into the submenu, or change the main headings here. But as I say, these are the things that Ofsted expects to see, so you might want to think twice before getting rid of those. The welcome message you'll need to modify, go into edit mode, and then you can directly edit the text on the page. Now we come to the other three sections here, and first of all I'm going to have a look at the latest news section. That is using something called the announcements type of page. That is a type of page when you create a new web page, as we did here. So I clicked on new page and it said create a new page. I didn't make any change to this option last time, but one of the options would have been to choose a page of type announcements, and that is the type of page that is being used for that thing, the latest news section on the front page.